Jesus today invites us to participate in his compassion, or in his expression of compassion towards those that are in need. When he sees the crowds hungry and thirsty, he doesn't send them away. He doesn't send the people away back to the villages so that they find something to eat. He has compassion for them, and therefore he is willing to feed them himself. He's asking his disciples, what do you have? How many loaves do you have? They say, we only have 7 loaves and a few fish. In other words, the disciples are telling Jesus, we are unwilling to share just this little with everybody because it is not enough. We just have 7 loaves and a few fish. What will this do for so many people? You better just send them away so that they go and find something to eat back home in the villages. Jesus says, give me what you have. This command is very important. Give me what you have. Let me have what you have so that I sanctify it, so that I multiply it. So what is important here is not the quantity of what we have. It is our willingness to share the little that we have with everybody else. But it only becomes sufficient and enough when we give it to God, when you give it to Jesus so that he sanctifies it. Whatever Jesus touches and sanctifies is enough for everybody to have something to eat or something to drink. But when we do not have a heart that is willing to share, when we come to Jesus, we say, we have this little, but it is just enough for ourselves. We have these 7 loaves and these few fish, but this is just enough for ourselves, not for everybody. We close ourselves and we are unwilling to participate in the compassion of Jesus. Jesus is saying, give me whatever you have. If you have 2 kwacha, give me that 2 kwacha. If you have 1 ungwe, 1 kwacha, give me that small money. And I am going to sanctify it. I am going to multiply it so that everybody will have something to taste, something to eat. It is important to have a heart that is willing to share, a heart that is willing to express compassion, especially towards those that are lacking in our community, in our society. But our human tendency is such that we just want to have everything to ourselves. We just want to care for ourselves, for our own needs. We don't want to raise our eyes to see the brokenness in the lives of other people. When our neighbor is in anguish, is in distress, that is their business. It is not my business. It is not our business. They should as well sort themselves out. After all, it is not even my fault that they are in that situation. We distance ourselves from those that are suffering in the community. The church will always stand for the poor because the church is animated by Christ himself, who shows compassion for those that are lacking. And the church is not a building. The church is not the bishop. The church is not the priest. The church is everybody who gathers around the table of the Lord to feed from the same cup and from the same plate. All of us are the church. And if we are the church, it means that we are commanded by Christ to participate in his mission of expressing compassion. When you have a neighbor, it could be in school. You have maybe a roommate who is struggling. Clearly you can see that the person that I'm sharing the same room with is struggling. They don't have much. Maybe they are coming from a poor family, a poor background. The family is not able to give them everything that my own family is able to give me. Does that bother me in any way? Or I just tell myself, it is his business, it is her business. I have my own business to take care of. If his family, if his parents, or if our parents or our family are not able to give them what they need, that is their business. You see your friend, Alessa Lafiotumani, Chirabushiko Mushachiro Tumanifi, Gatemani Tumasoya pieces, Mowaga school. Gatemani, Masoya pieces. Amasoya pieces, Aman. Aswakona Tuchua Mairo, Aswakona to Karembula. You will less saludo to an anka. Let's saludo to a sholo to as long as everything is going on with you, I mean, whether they are eating eggs every day or soya pieces, it is not your business. Jesus is saying, express compassion towards those that are lacking. What about sharing that piece of meat that you have with your roommate, with your neighbor? When you see, some people are not courageous enough to ask. They'll not come to you and say, my friend, could I have a peace? Because some do not have that courage. Others would have that courage. Yes, they'll come and ask. But others will just suffer within themselves. And your roommate, ngama banka bed, asenda mapamulu. Ale punya fi papa fiamani. Yole salula panchi. Jesus is saying, express compassion towards those that are lacking. See what happens in the gospel. It is not the people that come to Jesus and say, we are hungry. No, it is Jesus that sees the hunger in them. It is Jesus that takes the initiative. He sees the lacking in them. They don't come to him and ask for food. But he sees, he has the eyes that see beyond their physical appearance. He sees the hunger that is within themselves, and he says they need something to eat. And that should be our attitude also towards those that are lacking in our community. We don't expect everybody to come to us and ask. Some people will never come to ask, but they will be suffering within themselves. And if we don't have the eyes that see the hunger in them, then those people are going to starve. Those people are going to die of hunger. And Jesus, at the end of time, is going to ask you, is going to ask me, when I was hungry, did you give me anything to eat? But how could I have known if you didn't ask? No, you didn't. You needed to have the eyes to see the hunger in your neighbor. The disciples come to Jesus and say, these are only enough for us. These are not enough for everybody. Jesus says, give it to me. When we give whatever little we have to Jesus, Jesus has the power to multiply it. But first of all, let us have the heart that is willing to share. A heart that is willing to see the hunger in other people and reach out in compassion. Amen.